Welcome, Stashers, to another episode of Stache Sports. I know I have been out for the last 2 days, but we're going to go over stuff that I missed in the last 2 days. First, we're going to talk about wrestling. I'm going to talk about Monday Night Raw and SmackDown this week. If you haven't seen them, it's going to be spoilers. So I'll put my arm up like this when I'm done if you want to watch the rest of the video and try to skip past the spoilers part. But here come the spoilers. So earlier on Saturday's wrestling event, the Elimination Chamber, we saw Danhausen come for the first time in WWE after coming out of the box. A lot of people were upset about Danhausen coming out of the box, but he showed up on Monday Night Raw. He was talking to Adam Pearce about his Danhausen demands, about he wants to be in a Hall of Fame induction, he wants a picture of Triple H, he wants his face on the bus and other stuff. And he gave a piece of paper to Adam Pearce, and it came out of the toilet, so that's kind of funny. But the other funny thing was, Adam Pearce introduced them to the Judgment Day, which is Finn Balor, JD McDonough, and at the time it was JD McDonough, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio, who at the time was the IC champion, but had a match that night, later on that night, to defend the IC championship against Penta. But, so, for those who don't know, in AEW, Danhausen be like, if he doesn't like you, he'll be like, and you're cursed. So he cursed Dominic Mysterio because Dominic Mysterio wouldn't let him touch his belt. So Dominic Mysterio got cursed and lost the belt. So now we have a new IC champion, and Penta El Sora. It's nice to see Penta finally win it from the AEW, and nice to see him get a belt. And I'm happy to see Dominic. But it's going to be interesting now because some people could say maybe the curse by Danhausen made him lose the match, and Danhausen has superpowers that can change the outcome of matches because he sees himself as a vampire, and maybe he sees himself as having superpowers that can change the match. Or he could say about the fact that the Judgment Day didn't help. But it looked like they were going to help when Dominic called for to get the ring bell, and JD McDonough listened and went to him, but Finn Balor put a stop to that. Which I think the Judgment Day might break up soon. It's just too many people. I think some of them need to start going on their own, like Finn Balor maybe needs to start going on his own. Maybe see Dominic can go on his own and not always have somebody to fall back on. So that could be another theory. But the reason Dominic lost is because Dominic didn't have anybody to help him, which he needs help, or he'll lose. So that was a good match. It was nice seeing Penta win and bring the championship. Also, we had a nice debate between CM Punk and Roman Reigns. I know a lot of people are going over the board that CM Punk said he's going to bury him next to his father, but I really like that. I thought that was one of the better lines. I don't know, a lot of people are going to get upset by that, but I thought that was a good line. And I thought it was a really good promo. I can't wait until WrestleMania to watch them fight. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. But yeah, but that was good. I can't wait to see what Penta does at the championship and who goes after him. I hope they don't give it right back to Dominic Mysterio, to be quite honest. I hope they let Penta go into WrestleMania with it. And also, AJ Lee, who's our new IC Women's Championship, came out and started talking and flapping her jaws on who she's going to fight. It's going to be interesting to see if they'll have her fight, because she said she's going to be a fighting championship. I know a lot of people online were upset when AJ Lee won. I wasn't one of them, because I love AJ Lee, and I always have, when she was wrestling when I was a younger kid. But AJ Lee is an open challenge. She said she's going to be a fighting championship, which is good. So a lot of people thought she was going to be a part-timer. And why did we give it to the part-timer? Why did we have Becky Lynch win it? Because we want someone else that has a better mic skills that can talk better. But she won that, so that's nice to her. I'm glad they did it. But yeah, I'm glad she won. So she had a nice celebration afterwards and talking. But it's going to be interesting to see who fights next, because all the women were trying to go to Adam Pearce's office to see who would fight, but who'll be fighting, AJ Lee the first time. But we'll see what happens. I know she's going to have a belt probably going into Mania, but we'll see. But we'll see. I think that was nice to see that happen. I mean, I'm really glad. I'm really glad that AJ Lee won. I can't wait to see what she does. It's going to be interesting to see what she does now with the belt and how much she actually fights and they let her fight. But it's going to be interesting. Also, Gunther won a big match last night on Monday Night Raw, too. That was wild. Gunther is one of the good wrestlers right now. But Monday Night Raw is pretty good this week, in my opinion. So if you haven't watched it, you should watch it. I know I spoiled a couple matches for you, but it's every matches that have been spoiled, so you can watch it. But I thought it's good. Like I said, I can't wait to see what Penta does now as a new IC champion. Next, on Friday Night SmackDown, we had to listen to Nia Jax, that boring lady, talk on the mic with her championship. Luckily now we have Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair trying to be the first champion. Hopefully they can take the belt off them because at least they're a lot better to listen to than Nia Jax. Nia Jax is one of the most boringest wrestlers, female wrestlers that WWE has today. Last Legend was okay on the mic, but I just don't like the tag team at all. I don't know how long they're going to have the belts. I know the reason they did it is because Rhea Ripley's going to go on and fight Jade Cargill, which they had a pretty nice debate on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, but it wasn't as good as CM Punk's and Roman Reigns. That one was top level. But this wasn't a bad back and forth between them. It's going to be interesting to see what happens at WrestleMania between Jade Cargill and Rhea Ripley, unless she changes the belt next week. Another belt that changed hands was Cody Rhodes. Yeah, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes beat Drew McIntyre in the main event to recapture gold. So right now, I still think it could be a fatal 4-way or 5-way or whatever match between them. I still think that I still think it could be that. But right now, if it's not, it's going to be Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania. And I know why people are upset because, oh man, it's Cody again. Oh, I know it, Cody. I know all the people are upset because they don't want that, but I really like Cody, and I think it's a good match. I think Cody versus Randy Orton is a little bit of a card match, and might draw a little more people to go to WrestleMania to watch that live than McIntyre. I mean, McIntyre is not bad. I just think the history of Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. It just has a better draw to it, unless they add a fatal 4-way, which I could see happening. I mean, who knows what's going to happen to AJ or Sami Zayn? That guy's having a lot of issues. I think he might turn heel, which would be cool to have a Sami Zayn heel before we have a new Grand Theft Auto game. But I think Sami Zayn might turn heel or do something because he's having inner thoughts right now and making a whole big deal of himself. Also, the pretty funny thing was, right now, Johnny Gargano, or Johnny Wrestling, is all depressed because his buddy left and the Max left. His buddy went to AEW and he lost one of the wrestlers, Max. So he's all depressed. And his girlfriend finally and Candice LeRae, his wife, I think, finally got him to come back. And he got all excited about going back and said, anybody who wants to come out and fight me can come out and fight me. And the funny thing was, it was Olafemi. He was a big man and he crushed him. So I thought that was hilarious. Also, Danhausen came back on AEW. I thought Danhausen was going to curse Drew McIntyre, but I still thought Cody Rhodes was going to win going on Friday, and that was right. But I thought Danhausen was going to curse Drew McIntyre. But he was talking to Nick Aldis, the jail manager there, about his Danhausen demands, and the Miz keeps on talking about how he wants to mentor somebody. So Nick Aldis pointed him in the direction of the Miz, and they started talking, and the Miz got cursed. And the Miz was laughing it off, and then Danhausen said, see what happened to Dom on Monday? And it disappeared. I mean, I know a lot of people are starting to like Danhausen now. Some people were upset when he came out of the Bucks because they wanted people like Chris Jericho or something else that was more exciting. They didn't really know. But now that they're starting to know Danhausen, we're starting to like him. I mean, I liked him in AEW before I stopped watching because he was in there when CM Punk was in there because I only watched AEW, to be quite honest, because I'm a big Cody Rhodes fan. But I only watched AEW for that reason. But I mean, that's good. I hope Nia Jax loses it. Also, we have a new tag team turmoil this Friday night, and the winners were R-Truth and Damian Priest. I kind of hope they win, but I don't know because the Wyatt Six who I like is messing around with the Jacob Fatu's or Solo Sikoa's family, the MFTs I think they're called. He keeps messing around with them, so I don't know what's going to happen. But it'd be cool to see. It could be cool to see Damian Priest and R-Truth at the tag team and see what they do with it. I mean, they were pretty funny last night, so it'll be interesting to see what they do if they become a tag team championships after. But we'll see. But they're the ones who won the tag team turmoil because the Wyatt Six got knocked out by an interference by the MFTs, so they got knocked out by Las Garza. I think that's how I pronounce it, but we'll see. Other than that, it was a pretty good show. The United States Championship match was pretty good. They had one of the undercards, one of the guys from the undercards in there. From the undercard in there, or from the new wrestling company, the AAA Wrestling. I don't really know who he was, but he did have a really good match. So that was good. But we'll see. Also, Monday Night Raw, Paul Heyman got attacked by Seth Rollins with a chair to the back of the head and a stomp. He got taken off in the ambulance, but the ambulance driver was LA Knight. I can't wait to see where that storyline goes. I was just talking to my brother Kyle the other day, and I said it's going to be really hard for them to replace Paul Heyman when Paul Heyman retires. Paul Heyman is probably one of the best general managers or managers that the game has right now. It's going to be hard to replace him. And who do you think can replace him? If you have any comments on who do you think can replace Paul Heyman when he retires or leaves WWE, please leave them down below in the comments, because I'm kind of interested to see what people are thinking who could replace Paul Heyman. But now I'm done in my WWE talk for today. On Thursday, I think it was, the Penguins are playing the Buffalo Sabres, and Evgeny Malkin slashed one of the Buffalo Sabres in the mouth, and now it's on a 5-game suspension. That's real great, Malkin. Great composure on slashing him. That's real great. When we're trying to fight for a playoff spot and we don't have Sidney Crosby to lose another player to a stupid penalty that he could have avoided. That's real great, Malkin. Come on, man, do better. But now Malkin's suspended for 5 games, and they've lost the first game. Malkin's suspended to the shootouts. What is wrong with the Penguins this year? Why can't the Pittsburgh Penguins ever win in a shootout? It just baffles me that the Pittsburgh Penguins cannot win in a shootout. I don't know why they can't win a shootout, and I don't know what's up with that. But they are one of the worst teams this year in shootouts. Dan Reeves needs to change that around no matter what for this year, and especially for next year. I don't know what it is and why they always suck at or staying at short shootouts versus one-on-one versus goaltender and the goaltender and the person who has the puck. I don't know why the Penguins can't do that on a good shootout, but they are really bad if you're in a shootout. But they don't have that time to worry about losing to Philadelphia last night, which was a bad loss because Philadelphia Flyers stink. But they need to focus on the Boston Bruins tonight, even though they still won't have Sidney Crosby. But at least the good news is on Friday, Sidney Crosby was skating with the team, but in a non-contact jersey. So maybe he might be able to come up sooner than people expected. But that's nice to see Crosby come up. Hopefully Sidney Crosby does come up because we need him now, but Malkin's suspended for 5 games. Also, the Penguins traded a 3rd-round pick to Detroit for a winger that's 6'8" and 252. That's one big guy. I think his name is Slaughterman or something like that. But that's one big guy. But we'll see what they do. I trust Kyle Dubas with the trade. I mean, maybe they try to do anything better, but that's the only trade we did. Other teams like Buffalo got Luke Sharn and a couple of defensive men from the Jets, and also got a center from the Rangers and other players. I can't believe how good the Buffalo Sabres are. I was just talking to my friend Brandon, and I can't believe that the Buffalo Sabres might have a playoff run before we get a new Grand Theft Auto game. That'd be wild to fathom. But they might have a playoff run. If you watch hockey, you know that Buffalo Sabres always stink and are never good. But this year they have a team. They finally have a team around them in hockey. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to that. But I hope the Penguins can beat the Boston Bruins today, but they don't need to keep losing right now. I know it's going to be hard because we don't have our top 2 players in, since Malkin had to take a dumb penalty for slashing. But we don't need to worry about that. They need to worry about winning tonight. Arthur Sheeloff will probably be in net tonight, which is good because I think Arthur Sheeloff is playing a lot better right now than Stuart Skinner. Stuart Skinner started off good, but Stuart Skinner the last couple games hasn't been playing up to par in my opinion. But Sheeloff has. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. They play again on TV today. But they play against the Boston Bruins. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I hope hope the Penguins win against the Boston Bruins. But we'll see. But it was a wild trade day. So if you wanted all the trades, you can look at them. But some of them were pretty good. But some of them were pretty good. I think the Penguins win tonight against the Boston Bruins. But we'll see. The Caps traded defense Carlson to the Ducks, but the funny thing about that was Carlson was sleeping by the time, so he didn't know he got traded. That's just an interesting fact. I think the Colorado Avalanche are going to beat the Wild today. I think the Penguins are going to beat the Bruins. I think the Blackhawks will beat the Stars. I think the Golden Knights will beat the Oilers. The Oilers will beat the Golden Knights. The Buffalo Sabres are playing for first place right now in the division against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think the Buffalo Sabres win in Buffalo today, but it's a close game. Because the Buffalo Sabres are on a hot streak right now. I don't know if Tampa Bay's going to be able to stop them. So I think the Buffalo Sabres win in a close one. But we'll see. The Buffalo Sabres have been winning quite frequently. I think the Red Wings beat the Devils, and I think the Blues beat the Ducks. The Ducks beat the Blues, because the Blues have been moving around a lot of key players. So I think they're on rebuild. I don't know if they didn't win. So I think the Ducks beat the Blues. But we'll see. I just hope the Penguins play a lot better than they did last night and don't get to a shootout. Because like I know, and all of the Stachers know on this podcast, they cannot do good in shootouts. Right now, the Boston Celtics are playing at basketball. We'll get to that later. Last night, we saw that Max Crosby got traded to the Baltimore Raptors. That's okay, but now we have the best free pass rushes, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the AFC North. Lamar Jackson has to stay healthy and be able to throw, but they have an AJ running back and Derrick Henry. But it'll be interesting to see what they do. 2 first-round picks for a defensive man that's 28 might be good, but we'll see what happens. Sometimes if you trade 2 first-round picks, it might be bad because you might need those picks, but we'll see. I think it's a decent trade, but I think the Raiders won by quite honest because they got 2 first-round picks and they're in a rebuilding phase. So that's good if they're in a rebuilding phase. That means they're not going to win anything. And to have a disgruntled superstar on their team because they're trading for 2 first-round picks. So I think it's good for the Raiders. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to the Ravens. I know they finally got a pass rusher, but we also do have T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett in that division that are better than him in my opinion. But we'll see. Joe Burrow probably doesn't like that because now we have to go up against all 3 of them. But we'll see. It might be good for the Ravens. It's just going to be interesting how Lamar does. In my opinion, Lamar is a decent quarterback in the regular season, but in the playoffs, he's a different cat. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Last year they might have won the division if Tyler Luke would have made that field goal, but that's ancient history. But we'll see if that's a good trade. They won't have the first 2 picks of next year's, and that's what the Ravens normally do is build in the draft like the Steelers. So we'll see what happens with that. It's still too early for me to tell if it's a good trade or not because they haven't played yet. Well, I think it's a decent trade, but we'll see. James Conner, we were to steal to stay with the Arizona Cardinals. That's nice. James Conner used to play for the Steelers. Was a good player for the Steelers, but really turned around when he went to the Arizona Cardinals and really found himself in Arizona in that division. So that's nice that he reworked his deal to stay in Arizona. But it's going to be interesting. Free agency opens this week. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Pittsburgh Steelers do, if they do anything big or make any big noises. Hopefully they're not trying to wait for Aaron Rodgers and do whatever they think is best for them. But I'll keep you updated. It's going to be a wild week because the NFL starts back. And all these trades become official. Khalil Mack is returning to the Chargers, so that's good for them. Eagles are giving Davis a record extension. And Cowboys put a second tender on Brandon Aubrey. That means somebody can sign him, but they gotta give him a second-round pick, I think. So it'll be interesting. With the Cowboys. But that's nice. But free agency opens this week. What kind of big moves are going to happen? I don't know. It's been wild so far of all these big trades. With DJ Moore going to the Bears, Bills, That's the big trade. Max Crosby going to Ravens, that's a big trade. The cornerback from the Chiefs, I can't remember his name, went to the Rams, that's a big trade. So it's going to be interesting to see what free agency brings this year. Because right now they're pretty wild, and the league year hasn't even started yet. So it's going to be interesting to see what free agency does. But let's hope the Steelers make good moves. The Steelers still need receivers. So that means they need to trade for somebody to sign someone. But I still don't think Rowan Wilson is the answer. To be quite honest, I don't think Rowan Wilson is the answer. But we'll see. We do have Mike McCarthy, so maybe Mike McCarthy might be able to throw down the field more and get people utilized like our tight ends, like Pat Fryermuth and Darnell Washington. But we'll see. I just think we need more than one receiver. Even if we sign one or trade for one, I still think we need to draft one sometime in the draft and try to build one up to go along with DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf's still going to be our number 1. I don't think they're going to move on from DK Metcalf, even though there's reports that they might move on from DK Metcalf. I don't think they will. I don't think they will move on from DK Metcalf. But we'll see. But it's going to be interesting here to see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see what happens and see what happens. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. Like Cricket says again. Right now, the World Baseball Classic is going on, and the United States is looking good. They beat Great Britain last night 9-1, and they beat Brazil 15-4 on the opening day. They're looking really good. They have an off day today, and they play New Mexico tomorrow with Paul Skeens pitches. I can't wait to see what Paul Skeens can do for the United States pitching. He's one of the best pitchers, so we'll see what he does to the United States. But the United States is looking good. But they're having trouble hitting until Kyle Schwarber had a home run yesterday, making it 3-1 after a wild pitch. But that was a good game yesterday. Great Britain had a shot at the beginning, but the United States was just too much for them. Right. But the United States is too much. The United States went 9-1. Wow. They had one error. That's not good. Strawberry had a home run. Henderson single to center in the fifth. Brigham was sacked by Judd singled. Smith hit. But yeah, I remember a while until Kyle Schwarber had a home run and made it 3-1. Looked like Great Britain was winning, and the pitch was really hot until that happened. And then when that happened, then the scoring started happening for the United States, and they won 9-1. So that's nice to see. On Friday, they opened up against Brazil, and they won 15-5. 10 hits and 1 error. They need to clean up these errors, but that's good. I mean, I know it's going to get tougher it might get tougher when they start playing the Colombias, Dominican Republic, Mexico tomorrow might be a little tougher. Japan. All these players, because Japan has like Shohei Ohtani and all the Japan players that are really hitting it off right now in MLB. And then Mexico has all the other ones, Colombia, Dominican Republic. So when they start playing these ones, it's going to be a little closer because the United States have more even matches. Because for the World Baseball Classic, it's like hockey, like the Four Nations or the World Cup, where the superstars try to play in them. I don't know how they pick the superstars to play in them, but the superstars are playing them, and that's what they do, and that's how they do it. But I don't know how they pick them, but to play. But some of these other countries, like Brazil, they don't have that many people playing for them. Chinese Taiwan, they don't have anyone that really plays for them in the United States. There's a couple of them. There might be a few of them on Great Britain. Maybe some of them play in the minor league, because I heard sometimes today when I was watching one of the games, they're talking about them playing in the minor league. So somebody playing in the minor league. But I do remember Jazz Chisholm Jr. He plays in the major leagues, and he plays for Great Britain. But like I said, when I keep playing these Mexico teams like tomorrow and start playing these better teams, it might be tougher, because that's when they start playing the real competition. No offense to Brazil and them, but they just don't have superstar baseball players like Japan and the other countries do that you know of. But we'll see. It's interesting to see some of these countries that you didn't know had a baseball team have a baseball team and play. On Friday, Jason Tatum came back for the Boston Celtics. That's just wild still to me, but Jason Tatum came back after tearing his ACL or Achilles like 9 months ago and went out of the playoffs for it. That's just wild if he came back that fast. And yes, I know he came back that fast because Boston is the number 2 team right now and looking really good against Cleveland right now. But I'm watching the game after I watch the rest of the game after I do the video. But they're looking real good against Cleveland right now. But that's just wild that Jason Tatum's coming back that early. I can't believe that Jason Tatum's back that early. I mean, it's from that kind of an injury. I mean, I know it's okay to play because the doctors want to clear him to play and the other stuff, but it's just wild to me that he's still playing. The Boston Celtics are winning 81-51 right now in the third quarter. There's 3 minutes and 42 seconds left. The first half, it looked pretty good. It looked like it was close at the beginning, and then the second quarter is when the Boston Celtics started running away with it. and they look like they keep on running away with it. I think the Boston Celtics hold off. I don't think Cleveland had a good comeback in them, and I think the Boston Celtics win tonight and the Boston Celtics are one of the best teams this year away, and I think they continue that. I don't think the Celtics lose a big lead like this with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown right now. I think they continue their winning ways. Right now, the number one scorer for the Boston Celtics Jason Tatum has 14 points. Sam Hauser has 15 points. Quaid has 2 points. Derek White has 6 points. Jaylen Brown has 20 points. Baylor Striderman has 10 points. Peyton Pritchard has 9 points so far. But it's nice to see Jason Tatum back. I mean, that's nice. Like I said, I still can't believe that Jason Tatum's back this early from a torn Achilles. I think it's just wild that Jason Tatum's back this early. But I think the Celtics win today. They're winning 81-61 right now. And I'll watch the rest of the game. I think the Knicks beat the Lakers. I think the Pistons beat the Heat. I think the Mavericks beat the Raptors. The Raptors beat the Mavericks. I think the Wizards beat the Pelicans. I think the Magic beat the Bucks. I think the Spurs beat the Rockets. I think the Trailblazers beat the Pacers. I think the Bulls beat the Kings. And I think the Suns beat the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, we'll see. But I think, like I said, I think the Boston Celtics are going to win. I don't think they're going to lose this game. But still, it's just wild. But Boston's winning. It's just wild that Boston's winning. I just can't believe it that he's already in. I remember watching the playoff game, being upset when he went out with torn Achilles. I still can't believe that he's in it. I hope he stays healthy and it doesn't try to reactivate it because re-injury because he's coming back this early. But it's just wild that he's coming back this early. The UCF Knights lost last night. Hopefully they can bounce back and not start losing because right now they're looking maybe to possibly be in March Madness if they don't have a decent tournament run in the Big 12. But they don't need to keep losing games because that won't help their chances of getting into the 64 team if they keep losing games before the conference tournament. But we'll see. I mean, they have a good year this year, but they're probably in the NIT. They can't be in that one. But we'll see if they're in it at all. I think Illinois beats Maryland. I think Michigan beats Michigan State. And I think Nebraska beats Iowa. But we'll see. I think Arizona State beats Baylor. Oh, that's Tuesday, correct. But we'll see. March Madness is around the corner. It's going to be interesting to see who is in it. We keep talking about Miami of Ohio and blah, 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 blah. Miami of Ohio because they haven't lost. But it's going to be interesting to see who's in it. And who's in it, I guess. The Pirates are winning 4-3 right now against the Boston Red Sox. The Pirates are 10-5 and 4-3 at home. That's quite an impressive record for baseball right now for spring training. Let's hope the Pirates can do that when it counts. But it's going to be interesting. I really hope they bring up Connor Griffin like I've been saying on the podcast, but we'll see. But we'll see. I know some of these players, like Arnel Cruz, aren't on the team right now because they're playing for Dominican Republic. Or Paul Skeens, he's playing for the United States of America in this World Baseball Classic. I've been watching that. And also I also have to watch the UFC event last night to see what happened. And I'll talk more about that later when I watch it. But I'm so glad that Cody Rhodes is a champion now. And so forth. I just think it's a better card between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton if they don't make it a fatal four-way. But let's hope the Penguins can win today. It's going to be tough because Malkin and Crosby both out. Malkin's out for 5 games now. Or I guess 4 games now because he already had 1 game of suspension. But he's still for 4 games. And this is a crucial part of the season when the Penguins need to not lose and not get in a wild card because the wild card's a mess this year. And they don't need to keep losing because they have a second team. Their second team right now, or were the second team as of Thursday's video. And right behind the Carolina Hurricanes. So they don't need to keep messing around and losing. I mean, I know it's going to be rough, like I said, because Crosby's out and Malkin's out, but they need to win tonight. They need to get too much needed points. They need to really fix their playoff woe or their shootout woes. I can't believe that they're one of the worst teams this year in shootouts. and that they haven't figured it out. I don't know what's up with that and why they are one of the worst teams in shootouts. But I don't know why they do that. I don't know why they're all like that. I don't know why they do that. I don't know why they're like that. It's got my tongue twisted so much right now. But I don't know. I don't get it. But anyway, let's hope they can beat the Boston Bruins tonight. It's going to be a tough matchup because the Boston Bruins are really good this year. They needed to win yesterday against teams that are not that good, like the Philadelphia Flyers. But like I said, they're not good in shootouts. Let's hope the Boston Celtics can win too. I've been watching the rest of that game. I'm so excited to see Paul Skeens pitch tomorrow night. I'll give you my predictions tomorrow night for that and see what he does. How many innings is he going to go? I hope he doesn't go that many innings tomorrow night, but we'll talk more about that later and why. So you have to watch tomorrow's video to find that out. But thank you for watching Stache Sports episode. Thank you for watching the new Stache Sports episode. If you have any comments, please leave them down below. If you have any concerns, please leave them down below. I might try to look for shorter content too, but thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for watching my videos. And let's see, it'd be nice if they continue the winning ways like they did when they won 15-4 and 5 and 9-1 last night when they play tomorrow night in the World Baseball Classic. Let's hope UCF can bounce back after losing last night against West Virginia, I believe it was, in conference play. But we watched the rest of that Pitt game yesterday, and Pitt won in overtime. It didn't look like either team wanted to win that game, but Pitt did. So Pitt will be the last team in the ACC, which isn't good. They need to be higher and need to be better, but at least they made the ACC conference play, so at least have one more basketball game this year when they play again, because they are the 15th seed right now. But they made it since they won last night. But we'll see. But again, thank you for watching my videos. This is Stache Sports signing off.